Hello Amiga nerds, we're back with something else Amiga. What do we have on the show today? Today we have a box from Mr. Thomas Board. Just so you know, because I always have to reiterate it, my table is grounded. I am grounded. Yeah, that's it. So this is a nice Amiga 1200. It's in for a recap. These are the OG caps. But check the cleanliness of this puppy out. Look at that. Look at that. What a beautiful specimen. And finally, after so many poops, I finally get something that's nice. Oh, so nice. It even has the old copper dude on the back. This is an NTSC crystal, 2863636, where Jesus lives. A lot of you guys in the old Eurozone have told me that Amiga 1200s over there do not come with this. They're just sitting right in the plastic. You don't have the plastic separator or metal and the stuff. Comment down below. Let me know that. Check out the audio connectors. They're leaning to the side. Damn! I'm going to do a preliminary on this because, you know, when you get one in and you just do it and flip it, you'll want to make sure that it works, right? I use the brand new Amiga power supply. This is the one I got from the wonderful seller on eBay from Poland. For this, I was going to use my DF0 Terminator, but I forgot where I put it. If you received the package from me and you have my DF0 Terminator on it, enjoy. Perfect. 3.0 ROM. All is well. That was about 15 seconds. I'm going to turn it off, wait a couple seconds, turn it back on, and double mouse button just to make sure. Hold it down. There we go. Boot options, card slot. I mean, I didn't expect it not to work. These are the 40, what is it, 2-pin? Where you have to move the Amiga 1200 ROM. Boop, one step back, just like the 600 does too. So I'm going to get this set up for Lorena. Yeah, that's right. So I got a new Lorena. Here's the OG Lorena. She is actually my Ender 3v2 snips for the old filament. But it has a peg that goes in here and it keeps popping out, and she lost her legs, folks. So, once you go black, you never go back. We got the new Lorena, and she's got a nice spring, and she's sharp as Einstein. Every time you snip a cap, John Hertel gets heartburn. So, that's what we're going to do. And I'm not saying, look, there's an argument about I am not a twister. You know, no twisting. Don't twist. Don't be, you know that guy. I'm a Lorena Bobbitt guy. Snip and not snip and pull. Don't do that. CRG did a video where he took his dad's plumbing pliers and just snapped one off. Don't do that either. It's okay to snip a cap in half. A lot of people do it. I always do it. Never lost a single pad. If you know what you're doing and you take your time. I've explained it 100 times. Go back and watch some previous videos about how I remove caps. I'll show you again, don't worry. It's a 3-step process to me. Per cap, it's a safe way, and it works very well. It will work for you if you do it properly. If you go in there freaking Rambo, you're not going to have good results. But if you take your time and follow my steps and instructions, you will have no problems at all. And if you do cut your caps, if you put your Amiga 1200 motherboard or any surface mount motherboard up to your ear and listen, you can hear John Hertel yelling at you. Alright, let's get set up and get started. I'm going to need a 3mm, whatever that thing is, hex, safety, analyst, what this stuff. Okay, so this is going to be now wiped out. This is the plastic shielding underneath that apparently doesn't exist anywhere but America. I don't know about that. Nor the metal shielding. I don't know about that either because I see these all the time. We're going to set this aside for a moment. Alright, now if everyone would hold their motherboard up and listen carefully, you can hear Hertel scream. So, what I do is I go into the cap, right? and I put my finger on it. I'm not pressing down. I'm going to give it a snip. Oh no! Okay, that's step one. You're going to be tempted to go in here and pry this up. Do not do it. I give myself a relief snip. Okay? And then once you do your relief snip, carefully, just pick the aluminum retainer off. Okay? You're going to notice on here you have a rubber seal, right? And there's a piece of plastic underneath. You're going to be tempted to go in here and just start picking at stuff and pulling. Well, pull off your rubber seal and I'm going to show you something. Carefully pull off your rubber seal. Boop! If you were to pull this plastic up, it could get caught on these leftover nipple things and you could rip a trace or a pad. This is the part where people don't listen.
You can't fix stupid.
For cap cutting, all you have to do is go back in here and cut these nipples off. Yes, I saw it fly on the board. And then this piece simply comes right off. Look. Boop! And there are your remaining pads that can be simply debraded, which I will show you here. There we go. Get that little nub out of there. You can see clearly here that we have the two legs remaining. Now, if you want, you can throw some sauce on there, right? Put some Kester 186 is my go-to with flux. With that, you can either touch and remove. Yep. Get your leg out of the way there too. Get your pads out. Once your things are out, then simply go over it with some braid. I'm sorry if my hand's in the way. I'm trying not to be. And there you go. And, you know, take your time. Time you have. Okay? These things have been sitting here for 30 years. They're not going anywhere. So that's how I remove a cap. I take some isopropyl alcohol on a Q-tip or a cotton swab or whatever you guys call these things in your country. I call them Q-tips because that's what the package says. And then I wipe up all the brown boogers of flux, and you will see that no traces were lost, and it is perfectly perfect. So, for those of you who are bitching that, oh, you're snipping caps and doing this wrong and you're going to break a trace and your mom hates you, it's okay. If you do it that way, you will never have a problem. Now, what you're going to want to invest in is some quality snips. Now, the ones that I always used were the $3.99 Ender 3V2 snips. Why? Because they have an angled head. You can see it's like a low shovel, which means I can get flat on a board where my hand is still elevated to use it. If you're going to use your grandpa's old example, I don't even have any because I don't use them, like some kind of clippy big dudes, don't. It has to be small. It has to be flat. I have many of them, and I buy them all the time. Whoop, I almost got a screw in it. Like this kind. There's another kind. These are another great pair. I got these at Lowe's for like $11, but they have that spring thing, and this always breaks, and then you have stuck handle. So the new ones I got with an internal spring work really well. You want to find the finest pitch you can with the flattest blade possible, preferably totally flat. These have an ejection port. Pew! Shoots the stuff out. It's up to you. As far as through holes, that's up to you. I still snip them down, heat them up, pull them out while the solder's molten, and then debraid the holes. Same scenario. Snip them out, meaning I take the, find the capacitor, and I snip the legs down. Now, the capacitor right here next to R238 has a little bit of legs sticking up. See that? Beep, beep. Now, if I heat that up, I can wiggle that through, no problem. But the capacitor here, I just snipped the little nipples off. And that allows me to simply touch this. It heats up, molten, and then I can wiggle my finger you can take your time and the capacitor will come out in your hand. Where is my hand? Right there. And your holes are good. See that? And then I can debraid these holes with normal debraid, and I didn't lose a hole. Now the difference is if I were to go through and pull that cap out just by doing the wiggle, I could damage the via, or via as some people call it, and cause issues. The reason is this, and I'm going to zoom in on this capacitor and show you. Here is the showy 1000. Now you can see here that these legs that I snipped, I pulled through. The longer ones, they could be bent in a position of when they were soldered in. Sometimes you put a cap in, you bend a leg over to hold it. That would cause that big scratch because it's not straight. It's just my way. If it can help you, that's great. Snipping the ends off to remove those angled dudes, A, gives you a better surface to touch with your soldering iron. B, it also helps with the straight removal of a piece of metal through another piece of metal, because if you're gouging it, it could scratch it, but whoop! Just trying to share some tips. Okay, on this guy, yep, she's all cut. Desoldered the audio dudes and got them back straight. Resolder them in. Big solder blobs, real lead solder, and they're straight. That'll help the fitting in the case a little better. While I'm on the subject, my wife told me to tell you guys this, because I always forget. Please, under all circumstances, I ask that you contact me first before you send me things to repair. I've had several packages just show up and say, here, you know, if I've talked to you about it and I said it and I forgot it, fine, it's on me. But I always ask you to contact me, not just send me stuff to fix, because I have a lot of questionable repairs of people that resell. I'm not saying you do, but I've gotten screwed over more times than I care to count. So just reach out, send me an email, ask me if I would repair your stuff. I've had several people email me and tell me they will allow me to fix their stuff. I don't need you to allow me to fix your stuff. I'm doing you a favor. So if you feel that way, then you can go to somebody that's going to charge you for repairs. That's all. Rant over.
What the hell did you just say?
Okay, so you know this motherboard looked really good, right? And everything's fine. I got something in my eye. Now, I'm going to zoom on in here and show you that just because she looks good doesn't mean that there's not leaks. See? So this has been, got some flux on it, but down here next to PCM-CIA land here, you can see there's some acid crust. And I have to clean that up. I'm with a fiberglass pen. That negative leg there on the top of your screen. Just because they look good doesn't mean they don't have leaks. So just keep that in mind for your classic computer. Electrolytics coming out of those caps. And they looked great. And you can see Lorena was friendly. And yep, C460 never gets a cap. So it has the original Commodore solder on it. But you can see through holes, everything's cool. Through holes are holed, and everything came out nice. Let's see if I can hear anything. Nope.
Are you stupid or something?
As you can see, Lorena does make light work of the cap. I didn't have to remove the keyboard connector. I'd still debraid it and wipe it all down, but they all came out clean. No traces lost. Can you hot air these off? Of course you can. I reserve hot air for the most extreme situations. This board would have probably been fine to hot air them off. Captain tape it up and just blast away and peel them off. But by the time I wasted all the Captain tape and putting it on and heating it up and risk separation of the lamination and getting a wave underneath the layers. Remember, this is a piece of fiberglass with some lines etched in it and goobered down with some green paint. Pretty much. Yes, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but in a nutshell, fiberglass with some circuit layers glued together with an epoxy, squished, baked, all that crap. You put hot air on it, you can risk delaminating and cause all sorts of problems, especially for multi-layer boards. Yes, it all depends on your skill set. Yes, it depends on the quality of the board you have to do. If you have an acid damaged board, you definitely don't want to go hot air and crap off because you're just going to obliterate it. But if you want to and make a video of it, I will comment and laugh on that. However, that's just my way. There's many ways to do the same thing. So I pull up a capacitor map that I found on the old interwebs. It just tells you who goes what where. There's 18 of them, and I know that because I do these all the time. I'm going to get started on this. I'm going to start with the hardest one in the back, 6.3mm caps. For the back, I use the tiny ones because that way I can fit that thing in there and I'll take keyboard connector off. Yeah, 1622s. They're the little guys in the back here. So I'm going to start with that, but I need to turn this off first because I got to let it cool, which means I'm going to go heat up my coffee and take a chill for a minute while this cools. And I'm going to switch this tip, that tip. And I don't even know if you can see how fine that is, but it's a little bit like, 'cause this is a flat tip and this is an angled tip. I guess I don't even. Okay, I would have filmed that, but my body was in the way the whole time. So I'm going to show you what I do on this cap, so I don't have to remove. So with that super fine soldering iron tip that you can barely see, I use the Panasonic cap, and in the correct value, of course. The original ones are the big fat dogs, but modern technology, they're a little thinner. So what I do is I put the cap more towards the negative pole. That leaves me a little bit more room on the positive to get my iron in there, and you will see right here that with the cap down, I can actually get the soldering iron right in there and feed it solder, and it's fine. It doesn't, I mean, this side of course is totally fine. You just touch it and then you kind of go on an angle, heat the pad up. You're close to it, but you don't actually hit the keyboard connector. You can see, didn't have to take it off, and the cap's in, and it's good. I'm going to continue on the other 17 and be back in just a second. And just like that, an hour or so later, we're all done. 18 new caps. Use my map, use my caps, pow. Mark them all red because that's what I do. It's my brain, because if I don't, I forget one, or I forget one, and I can't see them right. Like when you're looking at a board that's all silver and you got silver stuff, so red, if you don't like it, alcohol them off. I found my crack bag full of jumpers. Lost my DF0 Terminator. Alright, here we go. Power. Monitor. That should be all I need. I'm not going to use that one, knock that on the floor. We're all clean, grounded. Hit it. Oh, turn the power on. It's going to take a couple seconds to think about showing anyway. Pan up. And like I said, 10 or 15 seconds because my Terminator's not on there. And bada bing. Nice clear picture. Everything's groovy. I need to hook up the external floppy. We're going to boot Amiga test kit, go through the stuff. Okay, 3 good enough. Controller ports, left mouse button, right mouse button. I have button 1, button 2, up, down, left, down, left. There we go, nice strong audio signal. CIAs should be fine. This is NTSC, we're good. Video, RGB gradient, perfect. Oh shoot. Yeah. Close enough. Before I wrap this up, owner asked if I had 3.1 ROMs for 1200, so I do. So here's your 3 O's, and I'll return these. Okay, so let's see if these work now. So there we go, 3.1 ROM. So on that note, another Amiga has been saved, everybody. And this one had some leaky caps, and we got them all brand new, and she's all good to go. It should last another 35 years. By the time this video hits the streets, Mr. T should have his Amiga 1200 back in its case and be enjoying it immensely. So thank you guys for coming along on this journey. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something.
What do you know from funny, you bastard?